looking to move to the Willamette Valley and wondering if Albany might be right for you? Today I'm going to be covering what the cost of living prices are in Albany, Oregon. Hey, I'm Tyler Thomas, ESP Realty. I'm a local realtor here in the Mid-Willamette Valley, and I do different videos on the different cities in our area. I spent most of my life in this area. I grew up in nearby Philomath and I have a lot of family in Albany. I've lived in this area for, as I said, most of my life, and it's a great place to live. I myself right now live in Albany with some of these cost of living things we're going to talk about. One of these things being you can buy a lot more house in Albany than some of the surrounding areas. Albany sits right along the Willamette River, and I-5, the major roadway in the area, also goes just through town on the east side. This makes it a great area for commuting and just generally a central location if you're looking to get to bigger cities, the mountains, or even the coast. As a whole, Albany has a population of around 56,000 people, and it's grown quite a bit over the years. So now what I'm going to be covering is our housing costs, so both renting and buying, transportation, and our utility costs. So let's go ahead and get into it. Like I said a while ago, Albany, you can buy a bit more house in the city compared to other ones nearby, and that's just why you've seen a bit of growth in Albany. Albany is just below the national average for these cost of living prices. The grading scale we're using is bestplaces.com, where 100 is the national average. Albany is actually at a 98.2, so like I said, just under. Here you're going to also see some of the other stats for nearby cities, things like Salem, Portland, Eugene. We're going to see how it stacks up to these other cities in the area that might be just bigger. The median sales price for a home currently is $422,900. Last month it was $392,500. So it is a bit more this month than last month, but for the most part, the last few months, it's kind of been fluctuating around this general area. And a lot of the other Mid-Willamette area cities have also seen where some have a drop, some have a slight increase. The last few months, it hasn't been completely consistent. There's just been a lot of movement, and the price is shifting. And we're currently up 7.3% compared to this time last year, so the home prices have gone up quite a bit. Now with Albany, it is in Lynn County. There's a part in Benton County, which is North Albany. North Albany has a median home price of $535,000. The previous month was $514,000. So like the rest of Albany, so main town Albany, it went up. So with North Albany being in Benton County, the prices in Benton County for most areas are just more than Lynn County, which is where the rest of Albany is. North Albany has also less homes to sell, so those prices will fluctuate. For comparisons of other Willamette Valley cities, we have Corvallis, which is currently at $520,000, Portland at $513,000, Eugene at $460,000, and Salem at $422,830. Now, Salem, these are averaged out between the Marion and Polk sides. Since you have West Salem over on the Polk side, Marion County is the rest of Salem. If you're looking for market stats on these other cities, go ahead and message me, and I'd be glad to get you those stats so you can see what every other city in our great area is doing. So there's some of the information about your prices for buying a home in our area. Now let's get on the renting. There's definitely been a lot of growth as far as apartment complexes going in Albany, and there's also another one that is looking to be finalized soon and being built. This is especially true on the eastern side, kind of towards the Knox Butte area. There's some fairly big sections of apartments that went in there. There's also the new middle and elementary school in that area. Something that brings a lot of people to Albany also for renting are students for LBCC in the southwest section of town. People may also live in Albany and then travel over to Oregon State. You can also go to school both in LB and OSU, so it's a little bit cheaper to rent in Albany. So you'll see some people doing that 20-25 minute drive from Albany to Corvallis. Now one thing to think about is in Albany, 38% of all the homes are rentals. This data coming from betterplaces.com, which is where I'll be getting much of the data I'll be sharing with you in this video. I'm going to leave a link in the description below so you can go ahead, follow the link, and see all this for yourself. Now here's some stats about what the prices are going to be kind of nearby for Albany for renting a home. So if you're looking to be in the area of a 1-bedroom, $970, 2-bedroom, $1,230, a 3-bedroom, $1,680, 4-bedroom, $1,960. Again, these are coming off of bestplaces.com, so you can go ahead and look at those prices. Albany, like most places, could definitely use some more homes being built to just help with the overall availability. Inventory in town, like also most places, is fairly low, so there's just quite a bit of a competition when trying to find a place. Now we're going to move on to utilities. So when looking at utilities, so things like your electric bill and cost of natural gas, Albany is actually well under the national average. Albany, as well as Portland and Corvallis, are actually 20% lower than the national average, which I just thought was pretty much a shock. Now, this could be due mostly to our mild climate that we actually have. When we get a winter, we don't typically get those very long, drawn-out, just awful winters. When we do get summers, it's also fairly mild. We might get our 90s, a couple hundred days, but they don't happen that often. A lot of people around here still don't actually have AC, so that could definitely be why some of our utility bills are a bit less. Now, one thing I thought was interesting is Albany is actually the 6th highest city in the state in 2022 and 23 for utilities. This coming from the Democrat Herald newspaper, which is the newspaper in town. This was surprising to me. There's definitely been some increases lately, and people have been talking about it. And I know there's slated for more increases in the future. So just hopefully it doesn't increase a lot. One thing you'll see a lot now is solar panels. It seems like when the weather's going to start getting nicer, I see a lot of solar panels going in. Where I live, I was about 3 homes in just my neighborhood that all got solar. With it becoming cheaper, it's definitely a good option. Now we're going to talk about transportation. When it comes to overall transportation in town, I kind of have a love-hate relationship with it. The way the streets are kind of laid out is it's pretty stretched out, and all your main shopping areas, I would say, are kind of in one spot. So you're going to be actually needing to travel if you're in specific areas to really get much of anything you're needing. There are some areas where there's like little shops, but as far as like bigger items, you're going to be driving quite a bit. This main road is going to be Pacific Boulevard, coming from the south and arcing all the way through town. So Albany isn't necessarily the most walkable city, definitely depending on where you live. Also, as far as biking, you can bike, but it might take you a while to get to things for like grocery or just your general retail centers. If you live in a more of the central area, you're pretty much set, because in the north central area is going to be most of where everything you're looking for is going to be. If you're in more of the southern part of town, southeast part of town, you're going to be driving. Especially kind of out where there's the Animal Kingdom, one of the neighborhoods in southwest area of town, you're definitely going to be driving. Otherwise, you'll be biking for quite a while. So I said Albany is definitely getting better at the biking. So there is more resources going to it, and it's becoming safer. I've definitely seen some progress in it. It's not quite there yet, I feel like. But there's not as many issues as I've seen before. Albany is actually now a bronze level city when it has overall bike community and safety. So it has definitely gotten better over the years. There's also some bigger paths throughout town, like a periwinkle path. So it's just getting easier for people to actually take their bikes and get around now. There's a great bike store downtown, Bike a Hike. You can go in there. They've got bikes down there with also equipment you can get. So if bike's your main mode of transportation, you can just go down there and they can hook you up. We've also got an e-bike store downtown now, which is really cool. So if you're looking to get into the e-bikes, there's that option now as well. As far as public transportation goes in Albany, there is now finally buses. Now that definitely was not always the case. The city runs 4 different loops, and it's all fareless. They've made quite a bit of changes in the past, so hopefully there's going to be more changes and improvements in the future. There's also bike racks in the front of the buses, so if you're in a certain area where you just don't feel like biking, you can go ahead, toss your bike on the front, get around town that way. There's also a great option, which is the Lynn Benton Loop, so it's going to be taking you between Albany and Corvallis, which is pretty popular with everyone that will do commuting between Albany and Corvallis, or perhaps even school, so that is an option. As far as total cost goes, Albany does very well when compared to nearby cities, as well as it's under the national average. Here you can see what Albany is compared to Portland, Eugene, Salem, and Corvallis. Now we're looking at where you want to live in town. This could also affect what kind of transportation you want and your total cost. We also in Albany have the option for the train. We have the rail yard, and the Amtrak goes through it. So if you're looking for using the train transportation, you've got that option. And as I touched on a little bit, depending on where you want to live in town, might dictate what kind of transportation you want. North Albany, you're most definitely going to want to be driving. You have one little area where there's shops and things in North Albany. Most anything else, you're going to be crossing the bridge into the rest of Albany for all your shopping. And like I said, if you're in the south part of town, also probably wanting to take that bus or drive. You can bike, it'll just take you a while. East part of town, also maybe the bus, Biking won't be as bad because it's not that far away, but also you're going to probably be more car dependent. West Albany as well. You've got Pacific. To the west of Pacific, you're going to have maybe some little shops all through there, but most of your shopping is going to be over next to the mall. So there you have it. These are some of the cost of living in Albany. Again, I'm Tyler Thomas with eXp Realty. I'm doing many videos specifically geared towards the Mid-Willamette Valley, looking at what it's like to live here. If you have any kind of questions about Albany as a whole or any surrounding cities, go ahead and get a hold of me. If you're looking to buy, sell, or invest in our great area, my information in the description below. You can go ahead and leave me a text. You can call me, leave me an email as well. Go ahead and subscribe to my channel for more future videos on our great area and all surrounding areas. I'll be glad to be your local resource for all real estate needs.